Hey guys, Top Tier Gaming here, coming at you with a tournament report for the Shreveport Regional that was this weekend. I got 8th, so top 8 Matt is right here. Just going to do a quick deck profile, because I've already done a deck profile on this deck like 12 times, it has to have been. I'm going to kind of fan out the deck and then explain my choices a little bit, but not too much, so this video isn't 30 minutes long. Mason actually got 4th at the event, so we're going to be doing one for him as well. His actually differs from mine, so it won't be the exact same deck. Mine's more budget than his is. I know like all the PK cards recently had a huge price spike, but mine is more budget if you want to play this version. They're both really good versions. They don't really differ too much, but there are some differences, like Strike and Desires are in Mason's version and not in mine. So be sure to check out both versions once we have them uploaded, but for now we'll just do this one. So yeah, going to do a quick profile and then explain my rounds and stuff. So the 3 cloak, 3 gloves, 3 boots, standard, you know, PK. This is not how I needed this to happen. So bam, bada bing, boom, bada bing, bam, boom. Okay, there we go. Then 2 Shadow Mist, 2 Marauding Captain, 2 Kagebucha Knight, 3, Terror Top, and a Takatomborg. That's the monsters for spells. 3 Transmodify, 3 Mass Change Second, a Mass Change, 3 Allure of Darkness, 2 Gold Sarcophagus. This is the card that Mason runs Desires over. I don't know, like Gold Sarcophagus and Desires, they try to share the same purpose, except Gold Sarcophagus, in my opinion, does it a little more consistently, but Desires does it with more power, if you understand what I'm saying. Because you might get more than just the weight of Shadow Mist if you need to. 1 MST, yeah, I'll explain that in a second. 1 Rhoda, 1 Foolish, and for traps, the Triple Fog Blade, Double Wings, and the warnings. So, some things I would like to explain, I guess. The standard 9 PKs, you have to run a 2 Shadow Mist. I don't play 3 anymore like my original build that I topped Pearl with, because it was more like a quality of life change. Saw this too much. You just need to see it to make the Shadow Mist, and then you don't want to draw it dead. Otherwise you might have to make like Xyz Rebellion legit. 2 Marauding Captain, he is so good, but because I upped Kagebucha Knight for the 3 Allure count, they kind of share, like, they cover each other's weaknesses, I say, because Kagebucha Knight can, spam off of Marauding Captain, gets around like Veiler, and just when you open both, it's so good, and they both share like the same purpose, but Marauding Captain's really strong because of Shadow Mist, and Kagebucha Knight's just good. The Terror Top engine, obviously super powerful for anything rank 3 spam. If you open this in like a decent hand with Transmodify, your board can look ridiculous at the end, so yeah. 3 Transmodify, I actually drew 3 of this one game and it was awful. When I saw this card at the event, I either saw it in 2s or 3s or none. Like, there's only a couple games where I drew just the 1 of it, and that was, that was just unfortunate RNG, but I might test around with 2. I still think 3 is the correct number, unless you're running Desires, because then you'll just draw it more anyways. Because this card is just so good when you open it, like 85% of the time I feel like I win if I open this card. It's just that good. So I might test around with 2, but it's probably going to stay at 3. 3 Mass Change Second, 1 Mass Change. Every single game I sided out wanted the Mass Change Second. However, I still feel like playing 3 in the main deck is really good, because if you do go first, then you want to get Dark Claw as fast as possible. Like, if I break even a little bit, but I can still make a Dark Claw, sometimes it's just worth it, because you can just shut out your opponent with Dark Claw and just get, if you pick up a free W in game 1, then, that puts you really far ahead. So I still want to play 3 in the main deck, but I do get an easy side out card with this. And the 1 Mass Change, obviously. 3 Allure. There's a lot of darks, and you gotta banish Shadow Mist. 2 Gold Sarcophagus. I don't know, dude. It's really good, but there are some times where you actually cannot make a Levier, even though this whole deck is Levier-centric, besides, I guess, Shadow Mist. If you can't make Levier, Gold Sark is really subpar, but in some hands this is the most ridiculous card I've ever seen. Like if you have gloves, boots, we'll just say a Transmodify, Gold Sark, you make like glove boots, and you don't even Gold Sark a Shadow Mist because you already have Transmodify. So you Gold Sark a Terror Top, make an extra Levier, then Transmodify the gloves or boots you detached off the Levier, and things like that. And then you get trap card if you open another trap card. Your hand's absolutely stunning with a Gold Sark, so that's really good. Play the 1 MST. My reasoning over Twin Twister is I actually didn't have Twin Twister at the time. It's the best reasoning I can give, but Twin Twister in a lot of situations can actually start your combos by discarding a PK. It's like a transmodifier and a lure almost in some situations. But in other situations, in my first regional with this deck, like Twin Twister was able to break combos, as in like you needed that extra card to go off as far as you could go, and you couldn't with Twin Twister. So I wanted to test MST, and I couldn't not run any back row destruction because I didn't want to get, you know, destroyed. So had to run the 1 and then Rota Foolish. Traps relatively the same as all of my builds. This is just a really good lineup for me. Unless you have strikes, if you have strikes, I would try to fit in at least 1 because Kieran is the biggest problem for this deck. One thing I want to test is I want to add Crush card to the deck for arguably the same reason. It kills Kieran. It kills a lot of things. It kills Blue Eyes. If you have Dark Law and you play Crush card Virus, then I don't know if they can come back from that. I mean, I'm sure they can somehow, but you already have a really good Blue Eyes matchup. There's a lot of fields where you can leave like a Cloak or a Gloves or a Boots on the field, and Crush card is amazing with all 3 of them. It's actually good with the Shadow Mist too and the Kagabucha Knight. There's no monster in this deck over 1200 attack, so Crush card is just inherently good. So yeah, this is the main deck. I'm going to sweep this up, and it's going to be the most disorderly thing you ever did seen. Okay, no it wasn't. I'm the best. Oh, no, I'm the worst. Okay, now we're going to do Extra Deck. So Extra Deck rarely ever changes. The 2, Law, Dion, Divine Wind, 3, Levier, because you are forced to play 3. If I could play 5, I would. 2, Break Sword, 1, Exceeds Rebellion. This card put in the work for Mason. More than it did for me. This card's really good, but I usually end up winning off Break Sword, and Mason just went for that instantly, and he just destroyed people with it. Dante, Engineer, Grampulse, Shark, and F-Zero. So this event, I wanted to play both Dion and Divine Wind. The reason is Divine Wind has like some application when you're playing Cleese, I guess, because it's hard for them to kill if you're in a really bad situation. Winning game 1 against Clee is super hard. Against some decks, this is just put in so much work. Dion you have to play, I think. Only 2 main deck targets now in the form of the 2 Marauding Captain. But if Marauding Captain gets Veilored, you have Mass Chain second. You know, you get around with this. They give you Flying Sea, you get around with this. Dion's just too good. 3 Levier. Yes. 2 Break Sword, 1 Rebellion. We were playing a Steel Storm Roach for Kieran, and we took it out for Divine Wind because it was kind of hard to get Steel Storm Roach out against Kieran, so we didn't really like it. Dante, Engineer to protect your Dark Law, Grampulse. Shark is the new addition from my Pearl regional top because I actually never made this all day, but I didn't want to have them like under 2,000, and I don't have a way to just win if they ever came back from one of my boards. It's a really good card, and I wouldn't take it out even though I never made it. So yeah, it's really good. And then the F-Zero. Actually, my side deck is across the room, so if you guys will excuse me for one quick second. Oh, come here, side deck. Yes. I don't know if it's in order, but we're gonna do it anyways, guys. The 2 Maxi, 2 Grampole, Grampole, Scamaseal. Aside of the second MST, 3 Mirror of the Ice Bearer. Yeah, I'll explain some stuff about this. 3 Full House, 2 Decree. Okay, well maybe just 1 Decree. 2 Decree, and 2 Pendulum Hole. So Maxi was, you know, I didn't want to go into an event without having Maxi, so sided it. Gamma is for like mirror match because we actually had 4 people going up there with PK Hero, all of our friends, and 3 actually top 16. So that was really cool. But this card was for Herald and just a lot of monsters that, you know, create floodgates. MST for Cleese. I really don't like Cleese, guys, as you'll see by the side deck. Mirror of the Ice Bearer was actually for mirror matches and whatnot. We kind of goofed with this card though because we thought it was really broken at the beginning. We were like, oh, if Darklaw just banishes something on the field, then we just banish 2 of their cards. It's so good, guys. Yeah, you need an effect to activate for this card to do what it needs to do. So if Darklaw banishes a card from your hand, you can chain this, banish 2 cards from their hand, but if Darklaw banishes a card from the field, it does nothing. But this card is still really good against like Farfa. If they Farfa you, and they have like Beatrice Dante on the field, you play this, they lose Beatrice and Dante right there, and like their Farfa was like such a huge neg and such a bad card in that situation. And this card was like, it's good against some things. I actually like it against side frames if they Omega me, especially if they chain on their, like if they have 2 Omegas and chain. Like their entire hand is in their, or their entire, all their plays are in their hand. So if you banish 4 cards from their hand because of Omega, then this card just net you such a huge gain, you might just win right there. 3 Full House, 2 Decree for Demise, and actually side frame 2 was not going to deal with that. I really don't like that deck, and I really don't like Demise. So I side in just 5 of this and this against a lot of those decks. Just stop them in their tracks. And 2 Pendulum Hole. Did this last minute decision right before the event we put these in. It worked really well for Mason, didn't for me. I lost almost every die roll of the event, so I never got to like set this up in a good situation against Kieran. It was rather unfortunate, but you know, whatever. So now I'll discuss my rounds. So there were 8 rounds and 130 something players. So round 1 I play against Pendulum, except it's not Kieran Pendulums. It's like Dark Pepe kind of. It's like the Draco Slayer Dark version, the one that was like around last format and the format before that. And it actually got me game 1. I went second. I lost almost every dice roll, guys. There's like a couple games where I went first. And so he beat me game 1. He established a board of like Lightning, the 3K Harbinger, and you know, some other stuff, and I couldn't get around it. It was a long game though. Game 2 I went first and he couldn't get around the board. It was too much for him. My board was like Double Levier, Wings, Fogblade, and Dark Law. And then game 3 he went first and he opened like Double Veiler, Maxi, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and like it was either another side deck card or like a one of Pendulum that couldn't do anything. And his side ended up killing him that game because he flipped Shadow Imprisoning, he stalled me for a turn with the Leviers and Maxis. And next turn he flipped Shadow Imprisoning, I Grand Pulsed it, and that was pretty much the game. So that was round 1. Round 2 I played against, it was Kieran, but he's a really good player, I think from either Arkansas or Texas. I don't know where he's from, but he was really good. Game 1, he kind of just straight destroyed me with Kieran. I got doo-dooed on right there. It was awful. And so game 2, I set up a board, and his first play was the Odd Eyes Fusion card. And yeah, it was more like an Odd Eyes Magic Spectre version. And he played the thing, bounced back my Dark Law Vortex Dragon, I think its name is. And I had to play around that. I waited to bait it, and he activated the effect to negate. I chained Fogblade, and from there I could just establish my board, and I won. Game 3, his first hand was so broken. I'm still baffled at it. Pretty much his end board was like not Ignister. It was the Fusion with maybe not the Fusion, but it had Kieran, Crobat, and some other stuff. I know the Exceed for sure. And I was just looking at it like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of stuff, and I just couldn't play around the Kieran, guys. Kieran is the worst problem for this deck. I didn't draw my Pendulum Hole, so I couldn't bait it, and he was just bouncing the Joker back to his hand every turn, so couldn't do anything. Round 3, what did I... Oh, I played against Dark Synchro with... it was actually playing a Hero Lives for Shadow Mist as well, so it could make Dark Law. And it was not... I don't think it had the Resonators in it, but it was the same exact deck as the one with the Resonators in it with like Destiny Heroes and Plague Spreader. He went first. He established really good boards, game 1 and 2, but I was able to get around them, and the Dark Law just put in the work after that, so it was a 2-0. Round 4, I played against Mermail. I actually win the die roll. I go first. I summon Dark Law. He scoops right there. I mean, he tries to make plays. He opened Diva, but it didn't matter. I had Fogblade and some other stuff. Round 2, he goes first, sets up Gaios. Man. He had a board pretty much. He had Gaios and some other stuff, and I was able to play around the Gaios because he didn't negate my cloak or my gloves, giving Break Sword to 3K. Then I was able to pop stuff and swing over it, and after that his board was pretty much done. What was round 5? Round 5 was... Round 5 was... Round 5 was... Round 5 was... What was round 5? I have it. I have it somewhere, guys. Oh! I wrote it down for this situation. Should have prepared better. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Round 5 was Buster Blader. Oh, yeah. I played Josh from my locals. And he was playing Buster Blader. Now, this may sound weird, but he ended up finishing 9th at the regional with Buster Blader. So it wasn't just some scrub Buster Blader deck, which that deck got some good cards, and it was pretty legit. So that was really hard. I think I won the die roll. I went first, so I'm pretty sure I won the die roll. So set up a board. He pretty much loses. Game 2, he went like through the whole synchro loop on me, and I was dead. And then game 3, I set up a board, and he pretty much lost. Except it was a lot more hard fought than that. Like this was a really hard fought win. It was actually really hard. So round 6, I can count, was against Infernoid BA, and game 1, I think it was like I went first. I believe I went first. Set up a board. He broke it with the Infernoids. Infernoids are actually really good at breaking our boards. Don't even know why. I just didn't have the stuff, I guess, to like counteract it, and you know, he just won through a long grind. Game 2, I was able to set up a Dark Law. I think he actually went first. I'm pretty sure he went first, because I went first game 2. So set up a Dark Law, and he couldn't play around it, or like he was playing around it, but I had the answers. Game 3, he lets me go first. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? Is this magic? So I make my board. It's not the best board. It's Dark Law, Levier, Fogblade. Couldn't get the wings. He summons he banishes the card in hand. Some of the Infernoids that pop a back row. I'm like, okay, good. There goes Fogblade. Summons the one that pops a monster. I'm like, oh my gosh, there goes Dark Law. Summons like a level 1 tuner, syncs those together, makes like a level 8 synchro. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's happening? Levier dies, and I can't come back from that. So he just had the perfect answer to my boards. It was a really good game, though. He was a cool guy. Round 7, I actually got a free win because there was a no-show. I don't know why there's a no-show at X2, but I mean, I took it. I was like dancing at the table, so yes, I'm the best. And then round 8, I played my friend Trell. You may know him from Team APS's channel. Team Apps is what I call them, but everyone tells me APS. I'm like, whoa, dude, I've known them for like 8 years, be real. So I don't know why, but our game lasted. We had one game, and that one game went into time. Trell went into time a lot that round. I don't know what you were doing, Trell, but that was some slow play, bro. But yeah, once we got to like the 6-minute mark, I just kind of went along with it. I was like, hey, you want to shuffle my deck? You want to look at my graveyard, please? Because I mean, it was some serious, like, he would have 1 card in hand, nothing in grave, 2 monsters on field that don't activate. And he's like, I'm like, attack, and he's like, 1 second. There's no card in your hand that can do anything. But he was playing Shiranui Zombies. It was actually pretty real. I had to work around some crazy boards he made, even with Dark Law on the field, because they get like multiple effects. The Shiranuis really don't get suffered from Dark Law. The rest of his deck kind of does, but pretty much he had an Omega, and he was chaining the Omega with the trap card that makes like this infinite loop of I can't attack. But I just kind of waited it out. Kind of just suffered a little turn there. Then I waited for him to do the chain, and I chained Fogblade right where it mattered. We ended up on a chain link of 5, and things resolved to where the Omega couldn't activate his effect, and I just ran over with a 3k Break Sword, popped some things with, I had 2 Break Swords on the field, made this unbreakable board with like F0, Dark Law, 2 Exceeds, and we were like 3 minutes away from time, and at that point it was like, he just couldn't win. We went at time, and it was done right there. So that was my rounds. Those were my rounds. That was goodness gracious. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was probably a little longer than I wanted it to be, even though I tried to go through the deck quickly. We will do one of Mason's, and we might do like a joint, talk about our experiences and the differences and the nuances of our deck. If you guys want to play a version and you don't have the money to build Desires and Strike build, this is probably the version for you. It's really similar to the way I topped Pearl. Pretty much the main difference in our builds is that Gold Sark is Desires in his builds. Desires is really powerful, but I do think this can be a more consistent card. So it's not even like you're losing anything by playing this build, in my opinion. If you're playing Desires, you have to run 2 Take Tomborg, because if you lose your Take Tomborg, it's pretty bad. But we'll see a deck profile of his, and I don't know when it'll be. I'm going to probably record it Thursday. This is a Tuesday. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. You can comment what you think. Subscribe. This was Top Tier Gaming by YouTube.